Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to learn about process groups and knowledge areas as defined by PMI, Project Management Institute. See, there is a very common confusion when I see people interchanging process groups with phases. Not really. Phases and process groups are not one and the same thing. Now, you might be thinking that what is a process group in the first place? So, PMI defines five process groups: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, and closing. Now, see, a lot of times, like I said, people say that project is in planning phase, project is in execution phase, project is in closing phase. Now, see, okay, you may be referring them to as phases, but they are not really phases. They are technically called as process groups. Now, why they are called as process groups and why they should not be confused with phases, let's understand. See, when it comes to PMI's project management framework, PMI likes to define various processes. So, processes by definition is simply a way of doing something. When you say what is a process, process is simply speaking a set of tasks, activities that you will perform using certain techniques and consuming certain inputs and producing some outputs. So basically, a process is nothing but a set of activities that helps you to convert inputs into outputs by using some techniques, tools and techniques. So in that respect, PMI defines processes which helps us to perform various project management activities. Say, for example, there is a process called as develop project charter. Then there is a process called as identify stakeholders. I'm just taking some random examples here. Then there is a process called as collect requirements. Another one called as create WBS. Now, likewise, there are quite a few processes. There are, in fact, 40 plus processes to be exact. There are 49 processes, but of course, with every new edition, PMI keeps changing. Sometimes they become 47 processes, sometimes they become 49, sometimes in previous editions we had 43, 45. So the number of processes keeps fluctuating. However, that's not relevant to us. What we really need to understand is that these processes have been grouped in five different categories. So some of these processes, they help you to initiate the project, or they are related to initiation work. Similarly, some processes are related to planning work. Then there are some processes related to execution work. Similarly, there are processes related to, or processes that helps you to monitor and control and close your project. So these are groups, literally groups, and they are groups of processes. That's why they were referred to as process groups. Now, why they should not be confused with phases? See, a project can have any number of phases. Say for example, the first phase of a project is to do the design. The second phase of the project is to do the construction. The third phase of the project is to do the handover. I'm just keeping it very simple. Now, these are the phases. And when it comes to a phase, we have to initiate that phase, we will have to plan that phase, we will execute that phase, we will monitor and control that phase, and then close the phase. And this repeats for every phase. So we will initiate the next phase, plan it, execute it, monitor, control, which is all ongoing thing, and then same happens for the every subsequent phase that we have. So the point is that these process groups will appear, or there will be processes related to all the 5 process groups in each phase. They may be sequential, they may be parallel, they do not have any as such specific flow that first you do this, then you do that. Of course, there is certain flow at certain level, but you cannot say that for all the processes this is the flow chart. There isn't one. A lot of these processes can be going on in parallel. A lot of these processes can appear at regular intervals or on ad hoc basis. So when to use a process, that's something I will say is a need basis thing, and we as project professionals have to use our intelligence to determine that which process should be used when during a project life cycle. Then comes knowledge areas. Now, knowledge areas are basically different aspects of project management that we need to take care of. So we have 10 knowledge areas: scope, schedule, cost, quality, risk, resources, procurement, communications, stakeholders, and integration. So when you are initiating a project, even though you may only find processes under integration and stakeholder knowledge area, but remember, whether there is a process or not, you have to think about all the 10 knowledge areas, whether you are initiating, whether you are in planning, whether you are executing, monitoring, controlling, or closing. So a lot of you may be aware that there is a matrix which describes, or which basically maps the processes to different groups and knowledge areas. So a lot of times you will see that there are empty cells, meaning that for a particular area, like for example this one, there is no process, there is no process here. So this could be process groups and knowledge areas, or there is no process here. So it's okay, doesn't matter. Even if there isn't a process, it's perfectly fine. It's just that PMI hasn't defined a specific process for that particular section. But this doesn't mean that we are not going to think about it, or we are not going to do work. So imagine if you're initiating a project, will you not think about scope? Will you not think about schedule, cost, quality, risk, resources, procurement, communication, stakeholders? So all these 9 areas have to be considered in every process group, whether there is a process or not. Integration comes as a knowledge area that basically brings everything together, because you cannot really have these different knowledge areas in silos. They have to come together, they have to sit well with each other. There shouldn't be any conflicts or gaps between two knowledge areas. So that is what integration is there for, to make sure that everything is seamlessly connected and well integrated with each other. That being said, to summarize, what we have to understand is knowledge area defines the different aspects of a project management that we have to think and consider. And process groups are different groups of processes that helps us to convert inputs into outputs, so that we can manage our project effectively. There may be a process for a specific section, there may not be a process. That's perfectly fine. But all knowledge areas have to be considered in all the 5 process groups. And lastly, process groups are not same as phases. Phases can be anything. This is completely subjective to the organization, that what will be the phases that they will break down their project into. But what is a standard, or what is a more generic idea here, is that every phase will have all the 5 process groups, and in each process group we will see all the 10 knowledge areas. That's all for today's video. I hope I was able to decode the difference and why they are not the same. Thank you.